How do you convert invites into successful jobs on Upwork? That is an important question, and most people tend to ignore it. They tend to say, oh, it's not important. I know how to do interviews. I know what to do when I get there. I'll try to be smart. I'll try to lie about it. Some will even try to create fake portfolios just to impress the client. So in this video today, we are going to talk about three things, and I'm going to tell you those three things are really important that you understand how to get the client hooked and impressed about your experience and skills. But before we talk about those three things, let me welcome new people that are watching this channel. If you are new to this channel, my name is Jesse Kamara. I am a full-time Upwork freelancer, and I've been there for close to 2 years. I have made my mark. I would say I'll count myself as one of the few freelancers who have been successful on the platform. Therefore, I have created this mentorship program, which is a 14 days mentorship program. So if you have not seen the other videos, please go and watch them. This is day 5. And in day 5, we are going to talk about interview techniques, right? How to get yourself, how to convert invites into successful jobs. Because getting an invite is just one step out of 10. Really going into the interview and nailing it, that's like 7 points. So it's really important that you understand these three things that I'm going to talk about. So for those of you who will be sticking to the end of this video, I am going to give you real tips that I myself have been using and that have been very successful in terms of converting invites into jobs. So number one, the first thing that you have to do is basically for you to prepare well for the interview. How do you prepare? Number two is when you get to the interview, how do you conduct yourself? Now, most people sit down and wait for the client to conduct the interview. But I want you to know that it's actually a collaborative effort to conduct the interview, and that is going to create an amazing impression to the client. So I want you to stay tuned. And then the last one, after the interview, what do you do? What actions do you take? How do you show that you are somebody who is unique and you're an expert, you know what you're doing? So let's start with number one. How do you prepare for an interview? Naturally, when you have an interview, you become nervous. All right. So let's begin with the invite. When the invite comes into your inbox, you receive the invite. What do you do? Most people go into panic mode. They start doing all sort of crazy things. Some, that's the time they go and watch and read the advert, which they should have read. They should have understood. If you have been following me, I've told you, you should read the job advert very well. Now, if there are any things on that job advert that you don't understand, most people will go to YouTube, just watch videos, and then they will assume that they understand what is in the job advert. They can now go and impress the client. Most times they fail. So here is what you need to do. When you receive an invite, number one, you have to determine how well do you understand the job advert. Let's say you put it in percentage. Maybe you have like 70 to 80% understanding. Maybe you have experience in most of the things, about 70 to 80%. For me, that is pretty good. If you have up to 80% understanding of the job advert, it means you have a great chance to win that job. Mostly, I don't just look for jobs that are perfectly fit for. I want to see jobs where there are certain skills that I don't have, but I still can go in there, win the job, and then learn those skills. It's important that you are able to learn in the job. You learn, you learn from people. At the same time, you also share your own experience. So don't look for a job unless you are 100% fit for that job before you can apply. You can apply for a job where you have one or two things that you still need to learn to understand. Okay, so if you have 80%, that is pretty good. For the 20%, it is fine that you have basic knowledge. So what do? You go to YouTube, you can go anywhere, you can read, or you can watch a video and then go. Let's say, for instance, you are supposed to understand a particular tool. Let's say Asana. You're not supposed to understand that tool. You don't know about Asana. You can go to YouTube, look at the video, learn about Asana, then go and create your account. Create one or two projects in Asana, use the tool at least for a few hours. Then you familiarize yourself. By doing so, you have not only learned about the tool, but also you have gotten like practical experience how the tool work, how it will look and feel of the tool. That can help you answer some questions that unforeseen questions that might come up during the interview. You speak like an expert about the tool because you don't only know, but also you have used the tool. This is really important. Most people just go and read, they don't know. And the problem, I will be talking about this more later. When you go to an interview and you want to share theory, you are there with your academic theory, all of these things. They don't work. Trust me. And clients will just figure it out. They know that you are just full of BS. You don't really know what you are talking about. They can figure it out. So that is why I want you to stay, and let's move on to the next one. So that no, before we move on to the next one, there's one more thing that I want you to know. What that is, if you receive the invite, you have to determine how long you want to. Some clients will ask you, hey, hello Jesse, I really read your proposal, I like what you wrote, but I want to meet with you. When are you available to meet? This is an important question. Most people will say, oh, I want to meet with you in the next 3 days because they want to prepare. So pushing the client too far, know that the client is also interviewing other people. That is a risk that most people take. And later when they come now, they are now ready, they start sending messages to the client is not responding. It has happened to a lot of people. For me, as an experienced product manager, as soon as a client asks me when are you available, most times I tell them I'm available now or in the next 1 or 2 hours or maybe tomorrow. All right. Unless the client says, oh no, can we meet next week? Then I can adjust my time. But I will make it immediately because I want to make sure I be the first to create the first impression and I'm there. Because if you push the client too long, what will happen is if the client go and interview other people and they are impressed with those people, they can just go ahead and hire them because you don't have any agreements with you. So the sooner you respond, the more quickly you can get hired. Also, don't allow when you have sent applications, you sit there, you don't respond. You wait for a day or two before you can even respond to an invite. It shows that you are not professional. It shows that you are not paying attention. So you have to check your UpWork regularly. This is also very important. But if you are going to push for a day or two, that's fine. But make sure that you communicate with the client. Let the client know that you are interested in the job. However, you will need a day or two for you to be able to have an interview, right? So it is important you don't push it too long. Now, the next thing is, how do you appear to the interview? When you get to the interview, most people when they go to an interview, they are nervous, and it is natural. Guys, everyone get nervous. Myself, when I started taking interviews, I was a bit nervous, but that is actually a dangerous thing to be nervous. It is dangerous, guys. I'm going to repeat this. It is dangerous for you to be nervous. Now, you have to understand that this is not a do or die situation. This is a situation wherein you are the expert. You should be speaking with confidence. You should be leading the conversation. How do you do it? Let me give you an example. Let's say I jump into an interview. All right. When I get to the interview, the first thing I will do is before I go to the interview, I'll make sure I try to learn the name of the client. As long as the client has sent me a message, I know the name of the client is already there. So I already know the name of the client. So when I get to the interview, I'll be there maybe a minute or two before the start time. And also I will make sure my background, where I am staying, the place is well lit up. If I don't have lights in my house, I can go somewhere to a restaurant or maybe to some kind of anywhere where I can sit and there is proper lighting. Somebody can see my face and there is proper sitting. I'll sit there and look really professional. All right. Then I'll take the interview. When I get to the interview room, I'll put my camera on with this perfect smiling face. As you can see my face, I have an amazing smile, you know. So I will just smile and then I will just say, "Hi, Jesse, how are you? Thank you for reaching out to me on Upwork. I really like so I start the conversation. That's what I'm saying. Right now, I'm not saying things. I'm not thinking about how to go to an interview. So some of these things that I'm saying is just crap. But what I'm saying is, get there. Hello, Jesse. How are you? Good. Thank you for inviting me to this interview. I was really impressed with the way you wrote your advert. I think this is going to be good. So maybe I'll talk about something like, for instance, like the weather. Where are you coming from? for instance. Yes, I do ask those questions. I'll say, oh, where are you from? Maybe they can say, oh, I'm from the United States. Okay, are you also working as a freelancer, or you are the owner of the business? Oh, I'm the owner of the business. So basically, you can see I have started a conversation with something different. I don't go straight to the interview. I went straight and tried to talk about something different, because these are just humans. This is just a person who is out there who is trying to build their business. So I just want to understand. Oh, they will say, I'm from the United States. If it's 2 or 3 people, I'll just ask them individually, right? So I start the conversation. I don't wait them to start the conversation. I start the conversation. By doing that, I'm creating some kind of rapport and making the environment at ease. Then also, it's creating an impression that Jesse is not someone who is going to be scared to talk to a client or to talk to anybody in the business, because they know exactly what they are doing. They are not scared. They are not timid. They are not nervous. They are in their own game, right? This is your interview. You have to control the game. You have to develop your own game. It does not come easily, guys. You have to learn how to practice. I have actually done countless interviews where somebody sits on the other side, they ask me a question and I respond. That's just it. I have practiced the way I go into interview. I've done this many times. So you have to find someone. You have to be bold enough to practice. And this is where I believe that practice makes you perfect. It makes you better. It makes you beat the nervousness. And that's what I want you to do. So the next thing is, they will ask you, oh, I will tell you about my business. Most people will tell me about their business. And secondly, they will say, tell me about yourself, right? About yourself is a summary that you have to master. So for me, I normally begin where my career began as a product manager. I'll tell you my career started like 2017 when I just completed my master's. I worked in a particular organization, built 1 or 2 products there. I moved to the other organization. I was there. I supported them to do X, Y, and Z. And now I am a full-time freelancer. I'm doing this, as you can see on my profile. It's amazing. But most importantly, here are my specializations. This is what I am specialized in. This is what I know how to do. If you give me a job to do it now, this is what I'm going to do for you. That's what I mean. When I say here, most importantly, these are my specializations. Number 1, eliciting requirements, writing requirement documents. I mean, with acceptance criteria, managing requirements, building and motivating teams to be productive, setting up systems for delivery, and so on. That's what I like. I basically list these things for you, solid points, so that you know that, okay, this guy is solid. So by just doing that introduction, you have shown you have put yourself at a point wherein somebody will say, oh, my name is this, I'm coming from this city. They start talking crap. You have put yourself, that last point will put you aside of the competition. All right. But you have to practice that. So once you get to the conversation, they start asking you a question. Now, this is where things get muddy for most people, because when they start asking you a question, you get panicked. Now, don't worry about the question. Feel relaxed. This is your game. This is your show, guys. I'm saying it and you think it's fun, but if you watch me in an interview, you will laugh. You will not believe that this guy is making thousands of dollars, and just by doing this thing, like, I know my game. I know what I can do, right? So therefore, I have owned my skills. I know what I'm capable of doing. So going into an interview should not intimidate me to get that job. That's one thing that I know. Either I get it or I don't get it, I move on. That's fine. I'm okay. All right. So now, this is where the thing gets muddy for most people, because when they start asking you questions, you start giving them theory. For instance, let me give you an easy example. Let's say they ask you, how do you manage a project? You understand? Most people will start to say, oh, well, they start giving you PMP definitions or Prince 2 definitions. I have not done any of those courses. I don't even care about those courses. I'm not saying they are not important, just that I don't care. What I care about is the practical things that I know. Of course, in my master's, I did project management. I know the processes. I know all of those things. But I don't go and explain them one after the other. What I do is I say, okay, yeah, let me give you an example. I will start by giving them an example. Say, for instance, we have a product that I just managed. It was a client reached out to us. So I build a story. Storytelling, guys. Storytelling is not just about other things. You know how to sell yourself out there, put yourself ahead of the competition. by selling yourself out there. Okay. So I tell them a story about the project that I managed, what I did, and exactly. They will get the gist. They will even get more. So what I do is basically I begin to explain the story, and then I get them to a point, and I blow their mind with the way I manage the project. That's what I do. And then you ask me the next question, I'll do the same thing. I'll use practical things that I've done. All right. This is why I'm telling you, when it comes to your portfolio, don't go and copy someone else's portfolio. Do your own portfolio. If you don't have any project, go and create a project. That's the time you manufacture a project. Work on it. Solidify your skills so that when you are telling your story, you can blow their mind with the kind of facts that you are providing. Let me pause here. Guys, are we on the same level here? Are we aligned here? All right, I'm just joking with you. By the way, if you are enjoying this conversation, guys, please hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate it. I would love it. And share the content within your own social media. Follow us in our social media. I will appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you guys. And I want you to be successful. Next, after the interview, what you do is basically just send them a note. Say, hello, I'm Jesse. I enjoyed the conversation. This was an interesting and intriguing conversation. And I will not even call it an interview normally. All right. So I will not even call it an interview. I will just call it like, it's just a conversation that we had. All right. So this is how I do it. I send them a note and then I wait and move on to the next job I start applying. So guys, there you have it. I want you to go out there and win. Please go and win.